Look, social anxiety comes from one thing and one thing only: a belief system that allows you to perceive reality as a threat, which therefore activates your fight and flight nervous system, okay, and makes you feel sweaty palms, heart beating, and not able to come up with witty jokes or say hello in a congruent manner, etc. All these people that are trying to teach you, how to shake a hand or how to speak or all this shit, it's bullshit, okay? Because the root of you not being an effective communicator is the belief system you are coming from whenever you enter a social situation. I can give you a million lines, a million techniques, and all that shit, but it's not gonna work if you don't have the emotional aspect at play. So how to actually get that is what this video is about, right? The root, the cause of your social anxiety, and let's make it a little bit more broad. The cause of really any mental pattern that you're having that's unworkable for the result that you're after, because that's the only thing I care about. It is getting you to get the result that you're after more quickly, more rapidly, more easily. If you want to do that, the only thing that really needs to happen, if we break it down extremely simply, is shift that belief system. You got to figure out, first of all, what is the belief system that's unworkable, right? You got to understand that a belief system, it colors the world around you. So if you really believed on a subconscious level that everybody loved you, that you had a ton of value to offer, and that you were safe around people, then you wouldn't feel any anxiety, right? Because that would be your belief. But if you believe otherwise, like, oh, I need to look amazing in front of all these people, oh, I need to prove myself, I don't have value here, whatever, or strangers are dangerous, these are all belief systems that are usually lying in your subconscious that are giving you a certain trigger, right? That are triggering that fight or flight system, because you're seeing external evidence that feeds into that belief system that you don't want to have. So then how do you actually shift that? First step is what we're talking about right now, is the awareness of the belief system, right? So if you ask yourself, okay, I feel anxiety, if I just imagine a social situation, I feel anxiety there, why? What am I afraid of? What do I believe about the situation that makes me feel threatened? What if I would do this? What if I would do that? What if I would scream loudly? What about it is it that scares me? Now, then there's some belief systems that are gonna come up. I want to give you a very important side note, because even people that talk about beliefs miss this part of the equation. So pay close attention. And even if you have a great belief system, then still your brain loves familiarity. So if you go into a new situation, you may or may not still have a little bit of anxiety, right? So never try to get to a place where you have zero anxiety, because you might have that a little bit, right? Because your brain wants to keep you safe. That's the primary directive of your subconscious, of your reptile brain. And so if you go into a new situation, like behind me is a pool and we have a big ass roof there and I jump off that, but the first time I do it, it's, even though I've done it a year ago, right? The first time I do it again is like still a little bit anxious. Not a lot, but still a little bit, because your brain hasn't seen you do that in a long time and therefore wants to protect you from doing anything new, because your brain has survived up until this point, okay? So naturally, new people could be a little bit, new situations, whatever, can be giving you a bit of anxiety if you haven't done it in a long time. Now, that being said, the best way to shift the belief system is to get opposing evidence. So if you are obviously scared of meeting new people or whatever, then you probably have a belief system. It's not rocket science, guys. You probably have a belief system, okay, meeting new people is dangerous, or I'm gonna be rejected, fear of rejection. That is the belief system you currently have that is not workable for you. If you wanna shift that, what you need to do is give your brain evidence that you are gonna be fine if you do that. So that builds the new belief system on the right side here that shows you, I approach new people and nothing dangerous happens. Because your brain inherently wants to protect you. Your brain inherently is afraid of new people and stuff like that, just because you have a survival mind, right? Your subconscious is way older than your conscious mind. And back in the caveman days, right, when you were in a tribe, you wouldn't just go up to a new tribe and just start talking to them, because they'd probably fuck you up, right? You're dangerous, you're new, etc. So your brain still has this wiring and programming from millions of years ago when you were literally a caveman, right? So you're still walking around right now with that same programming. And that's honestly, the conserve energy side of you, the lazy side of you, because you want to, keep as much resources as possible. The safety mechanism, right? Wanting to stay in the same zone, wanting to stay familiar. And then we use our higher minds to kind of override that programming. That being said, if you do that continuously, right? Approach new people or do things that scare you in little increments, then you're building a new belief system through action. That's because you're getting new evidence that if I do this, I'm still fine, I'm still safe. So that is honestly the simplest way to go about it. Simply go into exactly what makes you uncomfortable. Now, I understand. You might be pissed off because you're like, boy, I've been watching this video for 5 minutes thinking that you were gonna give me some secret, as you alluded to earlier, but you're basically telling me to just face my fears. Well, to an extent, because a lot of people will just say, oh, just do this little mental pattern, it'll all go away. Look, you gotta just step into your fears. That's a healthy thing to do anyways. Either way, if you're never gonna step into your fears, you're never gonna feel that pride, right? So it's also gonna build your self-esteem and all that stuff. That is the real way to do it. But you can also start imagining things, right? Start imagining those events, and you can start imagining yourself getting positive feedback after those things, but you can also imagine the rejections. I tell you this, if you get in reality one time a severe hard rejection, then instantly, if you are in the right headspace when you do it, if you give it the right meaning, like, oh, this person doesn't even know me, etc., right? Give it the right meaning, but instantly you'll feel much more comfortable in that environment. I'll tell you this, if you want to do an experiment like this, go to a nightclub and just be like, hey, whatever, I'm not going to do it too loud because I don't want to fuck up your ears, but if you just scream very loud in a nightclub, all of a sudden, now you just showed your brain, I can literally scream and nothing happened to me, unless someone punches you in the face, but that's probably not going to happen, right? So that is really what you want to do. That is really what it comes down to. Get evidence in your brain that you can do those things and still be safe, right? All your brain wants is safety. Get that evidence. In addition to those points that I just mentioned, where you're basically creating a new belief system where you feel safe in social interactions, that's gonna make you feel at ease. But you wanna do more than just feel at ease. You wanna feel like you have extreme value to offer. You wanna feel like people really want you to have social success. Because obviously the goal is not just to be neutral socially, it's to be socially extremely successful, persuasive, charismatic, all those things. So from there on, you want to build belief systems like I am the prize, right? You want to build belief systems like everybody wants me. You want to build a belief system like I am literally the most amazing mother in the world, okay? Even if it's slightly delusional or very delusional. Literally build those belief systems inside of you, and how you do that is choosing to come from that identity, okay? Literally choose right now to come from that place of being. Right? Choose to believe that. And how you do that is very simple. A lot of you guys might watch this and be like, oh yeah, that's not gonna work, blah, blah, blah. I can't do that right now, etc. Well, I'll tell you 2 evidence points that'll make you realize that you can. Number 1 is, if I were to set up a movie production center or whatever, and I told you like, hey, I want you to act like this other person. Now you would have full permission to act like, Harvey Specter, whoever it may be, right? And you could probably do it at that point, right? Because now you're in an acting role, nobody's gonna say anything about it. You just give yourself permission to do that and to act like that. So you could. It's just about giving yourself permission and having the leverage to push yourself to do it. Now, second part of that equation is, if I would put a gun to your head and said, I'm gonna blow your brains out within 24 hours, if you don't act like that, if you don't be that for the next 24 hours, you would 1000% be able to just be confident and charismatic. Okay, I guarantee, because your brain would literally go and switch into gear, because it's like, oh, if we don't do this, we're gonna die. Your brain is just like a weighing scale, right? You have everything you need inside of you right now. I guarantee, I promise you, you have it inside of you right now. That's why there's videos and there's, articles of mothers being able to literally pick up a car or lift a car because their kid is under it, or people walk into burning buildings. You have all those capacities right now, but your brain doesn't allow you to tap into it because you haven't created the leverage. So do I say put a gun to your head? Probably not, right? But create a leverage for yourself. Know that it's possible, and from there create a leverage like, hey, if I am going to be extremely confident, it's going to be so much easier, so much more comfortable, so much more safe to go out, right? Because you want to flip the dynamic in your brain. This is so vital, what I'm telling you right now. If you make your brain, which just wants to conserve energy, which just wants to limit any negative emotions, if you make your brain believe that you being more confident and more outgoing and extroverted and charismatic is going to be more safe, more comfortable, require less energy, and going to be more chill and pleasurable, then you retrieving and holding back, you snap into confidence immediately. This is what I do with people in a coaching session, where I rarely do one-on-one coaching sessions, but in coaching session or in hypnosis, basically what the whole deal there is, using NLP, using hypnosis, these patterns, the whole shtick here, guys, is to instantly shift your belief system, because we use the pain and pleasure associations that you have to certain things. And that's how we shift the belief system instantly, right? You've probably had an experience where it's like one thing happened that was so emotional for you that it just shifted you in an instant. That basically allows you to shift that in an instant. Then you still got to follow it up with the right action. If you then the next day wake up and you're just gonna take every single action against that belief system, it's obviously gonna fuck over again. But if you then follow that up, it's like a big seed that's planted for you, right? You're pretty much already in that spot, and then it's just about conditioning it a little bit. But basically you can make that shift instantly if you really understand the primary objectives of the brain and use those to create the leverage you need for change. And then it's about gathering evidence, making it a condition in, and keeping that momentum going. But honestly, guys, that is massive. That is one of the biggest secrets, even with productivity and stuff like that. If you can make your brain believe like, oh, if I'm gonna be proactive, do what I say I'm gonna do right away, etc., it's actually gonna require less energy and less headache and less negative emotions. If you truly believe that, you're gonna just snap into action always. I promise you, because your brain just wants to move towards pleasure and away from pain. So if you shift those dynamics, now it's just gonna shift. So a person once told me about being productive, to just give you a little analogy, big guy in social media and stuff. Listen, bro. It is just the first piece that's hard. If you start a diet, if you start working hard or whatever. Once you get in momentum, it's actually much easier than not dieting or not working hard. Because not working hard requires so much energy to make up excuses, feel shitty about yourself, etc. And when he said that, it just landed for me and gave me an instant belief system like, oh, working really hard is actually easier than not working hard, because you gotta start, you gotta stop, you gotta start, you gotta stop, you gotta start. And for example, if you push a car that's broken, right? The first 5 meters or a couple feet is gonna be the hardest, right? But when it's rolling, you can just keep it going with one arm. And that's the momentum thing. So if you now know that and understand that, now you're working towards that. And now the pain of the actions you need to take, the pain of productivity, the pain of proactivity is so much lower because of a new belief system. So if I can give you one advice, it is check in with your belief systems, know and learn how to shift them for what you want. And the best way to do that is either to gain external evidence or to work with someone, and use these NLP and hypnosis patterns to shift it more instantly, or watch these videos, right? So that being said, if you want actually a specific pattern you can DM me on Instagram @BoydHook, and I will send you a custom hypnosis NLP pattern that I just mentioned before, to be able to shift this instantly, okay? And then plant a big ass seed, and then if you continue to keep that momentum, there's no magic here. It's a really speeding up the process type of thing. And if you keep the momentum up, I guarantee you'll be there in no time, okay? So that being said, I'll see you in the next one, and let's crush it.